Time now for our rants and raves. I'm going to start with Adam.
I have a rave for, I want to make sure I get his name right, Matt Feld. He's a freelancer for the Herald, the Boston Herald, in the sports section. And he has been out ahead of everyone as we've had this controversy blow up around really grotesque anti-Semitic behavior surrounding the Duxbury High School football team. As many of our viewers will know, they've been using terms like Auschwitz and dreidel to do play calling during their games. Their football coach has now been fired. Matt Feld was out ahead of all the rest of the Boston media who hadn't been able to get to the bottom of what was actually being said. Very young guy, as we saw there, and it's cool to see someone in a position like that, again, a freelancer, drive a story that really matters a lot.
And you're right, Adam. It was important. We wanted to know what was being said, and it took a while for that to come out, or people knew and they wouldn't say. But that's the kind of material you need to know, I think. I agree. All right, Dan Lothian.
Well, so I have a rant for something actually that we were talking about a little bit earlier. The press conference with President Biden. So many questions were asked for over an hour, and not one single question was asked on COVID. Imagine that. The president did begin the press conference by acknowledging the progress that had been made in terms of vaccinations, and talked about how they were, sort of moving the bar up even higher. But there were so many opportunities to ask the question about, what's going on with the pandemic, especially as we're looking around the world and there are countries that are rolling into that third phase, if you will, where it's impacting them yet again, and not a single question. Shame on the reporters for asking about 2024 before pressing the president on the pandemic.
Yeah, it was totally embarrassing. I'm sorry for stepping on your your rant earlier.
That's okay. I was able to tease it. So
it just popped in my mind. I forgot that you had that. All right, Callie.
So I have a rant for Meet the Press. Really? You do a whole panel discussion on the hate being perpetrated against Asians in this country, the violence after the shooting of the 8 people in Atlanta, and there is not one commenter who is Asian. Are you for real? I would call it a rookie mistake, except these are professionals, allegedly. I mean, this is just basic. Really? I'm just embarrassed for them, and I'm outraged that this is still happening in 2021.
I mean, you got to wonder, Callie, if they tried some people,
no.
If they got...
There's 5,000 Asian American commentators.
I mean, we had
Don't give me that.
Somebody on last week who would have been great for their panel. So.
Don't give me that. No, yeah. I don't believe that 1 minute.
They just went with whoever they had booked.
That is correct.
That's just craziness.
Incredible.
I know. It really is. All right, Jon Keller.
So I have an extremely rare rave for the United States Congress in the form of the senior members of the Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, the Republican, and Dick Durbin, the Democrat. They've co-sponsored a bill to televise Supreme Court arguments. This is something that's been talked about since 1937. And here we are, nearly 90 years later, and they're still debating it. And they've been broadcasting the oral arguments live on just the audio since last spring because of the pandemic, without the republic dissolving into a heap of rubble. And the argument against doing it is that it would make justices act differently. What are they going to do? Are they going to moon the camera? Are they going to put on funny hats? I find this hard to believe. It's the public's business. The public should be able to see it.
Jon, same thing with the federal courts. I would go so far as to say federal executions. It's I hate to say it's our right. I mean, let's see it. You don't have to watch it, but federal trials, most certainly, that is our right to see it. Those are our tax dollars at work. The fact that Whitey Bulger's trial was not televised because it was a federal crime, it's just outrageous.
Some courts even televise their deliberations, after they hear the arguments. I'm not arguing for that.
Oh,
but come on.
I would be down for that.
Well, it's long past time to take that first step.
All right. Well, finally tonight, I have a rave for Dominion, and that is the outfit that did the electronic voting machines for the elections. I don't normally rave for someone who is filing a lawsuit against a media company because there's way too many frivolous lawsuits against media companies. But this is a serious defamation lawsuit. It's the second one that Dominion has filed against Fox. This one at the company. They've already filed others against Fox personalities, including Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, and then, of course, against Sidney Powell, the president's former lawyers, and Rudy Giuliani. And Smartmatics, the other company, has also filed suit. Something's going to happen. A lot of experts in this area say they've got good, solid material. Fox's defense is we were just covering the news. They were making it up.